leaders, mentees. I am delighted to welcome you to our special webinar with University of Newcastle. I have their team here with me who we've been speaking to for some time, and they will be going through their partners program with you and the provisions and opportunities that exist for you especially. So without taking any further time, I will pass over to Scott from Newcastle University. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I will just bring up our PowerPoint presentation. That's great. So evening, everybody. My name's Scott and I work in the partners team at Newcastle University. Also on the call today is Mary, who's my colleague on partners. So we're going to take half of the presentation each and give you a chance to ask any questions that you might have at the end. If you've got any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to put those in the chat. We can always get back to them as we go or at the end. But first things first, as a little bit of an icebreaker, if anyone has access to a mobile phone, please scan the QR code now. We've got some little activities to do at the start. If you don't have a mobile phone, please go onto a different web browser. And if you put in slido.com, which is on the screen there, and then enter the code Newcastle, you should be able to take part as well. So it will all become apparent on the next slide when I move on there. So happy Friday. What's your favorite thing to do at the weekend? So just as a bit of fun, let's see what everyone's looking forward to over the course of the long weekend this weekend as well, with the bank holiday too. So the answers should start appearing very soon. Read, yeah, that's something to wind down, I guess. That'll be a good one. Resting, yes, I can feel that. Spend time with family. Oh, another read there. Basketball with friends. Oh, wow, that's really good. Shopping, yeah, chillax. Swimming, few exercise on there and a bit of chilling and a bit of napping. Who doesn't love to have a nap? Okay, so we'll move on now to the next question, which is, how is school going at the moment for you? How are you finding things, especially, as you said, in the middle of your mock exams? Are you coping well, or things going better than expected? Right, quite stressful. Yeah, it's that time of year, isn't it, where, especially on the slide before, those things to relax are really, really useful in a stressful time. Constantly busy. Not too bad. That's good to hear. In the middle. That's about right, I would say, for where things are at the moment. The next question, if anyone thinks they know already what subject they're interested in studying, please do put those in there now. We should see a good mix here, I would imagine. Engineering, we've got computer science, medicine, pharmacy. Oh, broad range already. That's really good. So students from lots of different interests and backgrounds as well. Got any more? Cool. So that was just a bit of fun to break the ice and to get you welcome to the presentation. But today we're going to cover Newcastle University's Partners Programme for you. So what we'll cover today is an introduction to what the Partners Programme is, a little bit on the Partners Academic Summer School, which will become apparent once we go on to the next few slides, some of the benefits of the programme, so what that could do for you and how you could benefit from taking part. Mary will then go on to cover some eligibility criteria, as the Partners Programme is based on eligibility and you'd need to apply for it as well. A little bit on the application process, and we'll guide you on where you need to go to find out more. And then at the end, we'll have time for questions if you've got any of those as well. So what is the Partners Programme then? You've heard us talk about it. The Partners Programme is a supported entry route to Newcastle University, and supported entry routes are designed to help students progress to university, recognising some of the barriers that they've faced during their key educational times. And we'll touch in more detail on what those barriers could be in the eligibility criteria section. Over 8,000 students have entered Newcastle University via the Partners Programme, and the scheme has been running since the year 2000, so we shortly be coming up to our 25th anniversary, which is really exciting for us. 1,224 students took part in the programme last year, and it's a nationally recognised programme with students joining us from all across the UK, including London, obviously Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales recently too. The Partners Programme allows you to receive a lower offer of entry from Newcastle University. So that means you could get some lower entry requirements by taking part. It also includes the successful completion of a free summer school, which we'll touch upon soon. And that summer school is designed to help prepare you for university study, as well as get used to all of our facilities and meet new people too. It will also allow you to have extra help and support when you're applying to university, but also whilst you're studying with us as well. So it doesn't just end once you get through to the university. That support will be ongoing throughout your degree studies. What is the lower offer? So standard entry requirements for a course could be 3 A grades. For the example that we've given here is medicine. So for most universities, you'll need to achieve their standard entry requirements to progress on. But through partners, we lower that offer by up to 3 grades. So for medicine, you could be looking at an offer of BBB at A level or equivalent. And the important part about that text there is plus successful completion of the summer school. So as well as achieving your A level grades, you'd also take part in our academic summer school at the end of year 13 after all of your exams have taken place. If you want to find out more about the courses that we offer at Newcastle University, you can enter that link there. We'll pop it in the chat as well, so you can click on that and have a look through our course list. But Partners is applicable to all of our courses at Newcastle. So from medicine to all those subjects that you listed on those previous slidos, you could benefit from a lower offer, which would be up to 3 grades lower than the standard offer. So we mentioned that this academic summer school would form part of the offer. I'm just now going to give you a little bit of an overview to what that means and what that means for you if you did decide to apply through the Partners Programme. The Partners Academic Summer School takes place each year in July. And as I said, it's at the end of year 13 after all of your exams have taken place. It's designed to give you an insight into student life and to help you with the transition between school and college and university, where learning could be really different and different styles of learning as well. Past 2024, so as you're all in year 12, you will be applying for university from this September onwards to start the following September. You would take part in the Partners Academic Summer School in July 2024. It usually takes place the first week of July, but we'll be confirming the dates on that soon. So please keep checking our website, which will pop up at the end for some more information. The way it's worked over the last couple of years, the event takes place partly online and partly on campus at Newcastle University. And the key thing is it's completely free to attend. So we don't charge anything to take part in the Partners Programme. We'll pay for all associated travel costs and accommodation, and let you stay in our halls of residence free of charge as well. The Academic Summer School, you might hear me say PASS, but that's just shortened for Partners Academic Summer School, so please don't worry if you're not sure what that means. It's split up into 4 components, and those are academic sessions, higher education skills, careers and employability, and social activities. And that all forms part of that helping you transition to university, so you're a prepared student when you join us in September or October. The academic sessions on PASS are taught by the same lecturers as your undergraduate course. So that gives you a real head start into university life. You'll be meeting some of the people that you'll be dealing with for 3 to 5 years of study, and getting to meet the key contacts as you move on to university. The academic sessions will be subject specific. So if you were applying for a medicine programme, for example, you would take part in medicine taster lectures on the summer school. So they're related to the course that you apply for. and it's 10 to 30 academic contact hours across that week as well. Over 30 different subject strands, so it is applicable for most of our subject options, but for instance, where you've got a mixture of courses under biology, you'd study on the biological sciences subject strand, just the closest match to the course that you're applying for. And they're in a range of different delivery styles depending on what subject you choose. So I keep going back to medicine, but you could have, for example, some lab work in amongst that. Anatomy taster seminars, I know, is one for medicine as well. But they could be lectures or seminars, which is most similar to what you would study at school in seminar style group teaching with your teacher as well. The second part of PASS we mentioned before would be the employability strand. So this is designed to raise awareness of our university career service and some future options which you could be looking forward to after you've finished your degree. So recent sessions that we have had on our summer schools, what I wish I'd known, an alumni keynote speech. So that's where one of our recent graduates came in to deliver a talk to our partner students, focused on their career and their career path. An introduction to our careers service. So you would get that ahead of all of the students to join Newcastle University. You'd meet the key teams and see some of the benefits that they could bring to you, such as the CV proofreading and helping you look for a graduate job in the future as well. As well as that, we have industry webinars with some key businesses, and then also how to get the most out of LinkedIn. So if you are looking for a career path, LinkedIn will be a key tool for you going on in the future, where you can perhaps meet with employers and make connections to your university studies as well. There is also an element of higher education study skills. So this is to give you a head start in preparing for studying at university, which may be very different to studying at school. For example, you'd be mostly classroom based at the moment, but when you go to university, you could be looking at different formats of study. So lectures where you'd have a lecturer at the front of the group, and you would be there taking notes throughout the presentation. Recent sessions on the higher education skills. So we've got sessions on critical analysis, how to reference. So if you're doing an academic piece of work, referencing would be where you cite different resources that you've used in that. How to cope with independent study and taking ownership of your own learning. And also how to manage different types of assessments and feedback that you might get whilst at university as well. And then the fun part, so past social activities. It's not all just work during the summer school. It is a great chance to meet other students who are going to be on your course at Newcastle University. And these social activities are developed by our dedicated team of student reps. So they will have been in the same position before. Most of them would have taken part in the Partners Programme too. And each year they do vary, but we've had quiz nights before, night at the cinema, some pizza and games. And also, if you've never been to Newcastle before, or even if you have, you can come on a city tour with us and find out more about Newcastle as a place. So I'm going to hand over now to my colleague Mary, who'll take you through the rest of the presentation today.
Thanks, Scott. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to touch on the benefits of completing partners. So next slide, please, Scott. Thank you. So the obvious benefit of partners that we've already spoke about is the reduced offer and getting the lower grades to come to Newcastle, but there's actually way more to it than that. So like Scott said, you get to see what university is really like at the summer school. It's a really realistic taster, if you like, about what your course is going to look like, about what the campus is like, what the accommodation's like, what the lecturers and things like that. So it's a good chance to see if university is really for you and if the course that you've chosen is for you as well. You get full use of Newcastle University facilities during the summer school. That includes free gym access. You get to go and use all of our libraries, loads of different facilities. So we've got obviously really good labs, We've got a base up on the coast if we've got any marine biology students on the call today. We've got loads of different facilities that you can check out too. One of the main benefits that our students always tell us after the summer school is that they really enjoy meeting other people. Obviously, university can be quite daunting because you're going and you don't know anyone, you don't have any friends yet. But with partner students, that's not the case because you've spent, you know, a week up to a week with these other students. So you already know people on your course and also not on your course before you start. So it's really nice. We've had people come back and say that they're, you know, made lifelong friends on the partner summer school. So that's definitely a big benefit. And you'll overall just feel more confident from completing the partner summer school. So you'll feel more confident about your course. You'll really get a head start on that. And things like the HE skills module that you'll do, you'll get a head start on things like referencing. So people on your course might have to learn that for the first time, but because you've done that in the summer school, you'll be a lot more confident, which is really nice. You'll get ongoing support from the partners team whilst you're a student with us, so we don't just leave you after the summer school. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in the next slide. And it's completely free to attend, so we cover travel, food, accommodation, social activities, so you'll never be out of pocket for coming to pass. Next slide, please. So a little bit more about the ongoing support that you'll receive from us whilst you're here. So we'll add you to our partners portal, that we call it. So that is an online community for all partner students at Newcastle University, and we'll use that to post different opportunities available to you. So that can include work opportunities. It might be that you end up being a student rep at the summer school after you've done the summer school as a student. So a lot of our student reps come full cycle, which is really nice. We've also got a lot of part-time work if you become a student ambassador, so helping out at open days and things like that. It's really flexible and it's really well paid as well. We'll also let you know about like bursaries and scholarships that you might be eligible for. We'll check in with you and ask you how it's going so far and if there's anything that we can help you with. And we'll signpost to a lot of the support that's available, including financial support, wellbeing support, and things like that too. It's also a great way to keep in touch with other partner students too, so you can keep in the loop whilst you're here. Next slide, please. So a little bit more about the financial support that's available to partner students. So this does change every year. So what's on this slide here won't necessarily be applicable to your cohort, but just to give you a bit of an example, students that registered at Newcastle that completed the partners program and started this autumn, so autumn just gone, these were the bursaries and scholarships, a few examples of what they were eligible to apply for. So you can definitely get extra funding if you're a partner student. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk to you now about the eligibility criteria. So hopefully you know a bit more about what partners actually is. So this is how you can find out if you're eligible. So there's three kind of key things that you need to tick off. So you must meet all of our essential conditions. You must meet any one of the 15 eligibility criteria. And lastly, you need to make Newcastle University your firm choice or Newcastle. Next slide, please. So these are our essential conditions. So you must have home student status. You must be resident in the UK. Partners has the same deadlines as UCAS, so you must kind of follow the UCAS deadlines when you submit your partner's application too. And you have to get have the required predicted grades when you apply. So I'll cover all of these a little bit more in the next few slides. So the predicted grades can be no more than 1 grade lower than the reduced partners offer. Best way to explain this is with an example. So if we go to the next slide. So for example, if you were applying to dentistry and the typical offer was 3 A's at A-level or equivalent, meaning the partners offer was 3 B's at A-level or equivalent, the requirement for predicted grades would be 2 B's and a C. So there is that little bit of leeway with your predicted grades. So you're allowed 1 grade lower for your predicted than the partners offer. The offer that you receive would still be the 3 B's, but you're allowed to have 1 lower for your predicted. We also match kind of all of the other entry requirements for specific subjects. So for example, if you're applying to medicine and dentistry, you'd still need to do the UCAT test, you'd still need to have an interview and all of that kind of stuff. If you're applying for fine art, they'd still request a portfolio. So everything else is the same. You're treated as the same as the other students. It's just the grades that would change with your offer, and obviously the conditions as well that come along with that. Next slide, please. So this is our eligibility criteria. Hopefully you know that you meet all the 4 essential conditions now, so you only need to meet one of these. This is our 2023 entry criteria, so students that are currently in year 13. So for you guys, it might change slightly. We would recommend checking on our website in September when applications open and checking your eligibility then as well, just in case anything's changed. Having said that, we do tend to add more criteria rather than take it away. So if you're eligible now, chances are you will be eligible in September as well. So yeah, we try and make it as inclusive as possible. So I'll just kind of cover a few. I won't go through every single one, or we'll be here all night, but you do only need to meet one. So a lot of students get in on home postcode. So what you can do is type in your postcode on our website and it'll tell you if you're eligible or not. If you receive additional financial support, so if you receive free school meals or anything like that, then you can be eligible. We also look at your parent or carer experience. So if neither parent or carer has gone to university, then that would also make you eligible. If you're from a Black, Asian or minoritized ethnic group and you attend a state school, then you'll also meet the criteria that way. We also, this is new for 2023, and we think it will stay for 2024 entry. So if you're interested in applying to an engineering, maths or physics degree, you're automatically eligible for partners. You don't need, as long as you meet the essential conditions, you don't need to meet any of the widening participation criteria. That one is to cover gaps in kind of lost learning and COVID in those particular subject areas. So I think a few of you at the start with the little question said that you were interested in engineering. So if you apply for an engineering course, you will automatically get a partner's offer. So that's a really good one. If you have any experience of local authority care, there isn't any minimum time, that would also make you eligible. It's worth mentioning too the personal extenuating circumstances. So if you look at the eligibility criteria and you don't think that you meet any of these, but you've had something that has severely interrupted your education at key times, so either during GCSEs or during your A levels, then we assess those on a case-by-case basis. So what you can do is there's a box on the partner's application form where you can put in extenuating circumstances and attach any evidence, and then the manager of the programme will review that, and you might be able to get in that way. It's important to note as well, you might meet more than one criteria on here. You might meet 1, you might meet 5. It doesn't matter, everyone's treated the same, so don't think, you know, if you meet all 15 then you're going to be more eligible than someone else. As long as you meet 1, that's all you need. We don't have a cap on how many students we accept on our partners. There's obviously just caps with things like medicine and dentistry because of interviews and things like that and course numbers, but there isn't any cap on how many people we accept onto the partners program, so you don't need to worry about that. Next slide, please. So yeah, just as a reminder, you can check whether you meet any of the criteria by going to our website. So it's just ncl.ac.uk/partners. So you can get a good idea if you're eligible now. But like I say, just check again in September, just in case anything has changed. Next slide, please. So the second condition of the reduced partners offer is that you need to make Newcastle University your firm choice on UCAS. This isn't something that you have to decide straight away. So when you apply to partners, you aren't committing to making us your firm choice. What happens is you have until around early June to make your firm and insurance choice on UCAS. So say you apply to 5 different universities, you get 5 offers back, and then you have until June to decide whether you want to make what university you want to select as your firm choice and what university you want to select as your insurance choice. If at that stage you didn't want to come to Newcastle and you would rather have us as your insurance choice, that's absolutely fine. All that means is that the grades would go back to the regular offer. So if your current offer was 3 Bs, it would revert back to 3 As if you put us as your insurance. So hopefully that makes sense. Next slide, please. So we're going to talk a little bit as well about how and when to apply to the Partners programme. So Partners is open to students in year 13 or final year of college only. So you can apply to Partners as soon as you've completed your UCAS form. Applications for 2024 entry, so that's you guys, will open in September 2023, so this September. What you can do is scan the QR code on screen. That will take you to a register your interest form where you can pop in your details, and then as soon as applications open, we'll send you an email, and we'll also invite you to an optional online launch event where you can hear from current partner students. We'll run through the updated eligibility criteria and that kind of stuff. So feel free to scan that and sign up, and we'll keep you in the loop. I'll just leave that slide on just for a couple of seconds to give you a chance. Okay, great. Next slide, please. So in an ideal world, this is the order that you would do everything. So you submit your UCAS form first, and there's a section that'll say further details under Newcastle University. You just need to add a capital P to that box. This flags to our admissions team that you're going to be applying to Newcastle via the Partners programme. Once your UCAS form's submitted, you need to go to the Partners website and submit an application form to us. It's really short. It's not like your UCAS form. You don't have to do a personal statement or anything like that. It's basically just filling out your details and ticking which criteria you think you're eligible for. You'll most likely hear back from the Partners team first. So we will confirm your eligibility, and then if you're accepted, we'll send you an email, and then we'll tell our admissions team that you've been accepted onto Partners. Any offer that you're subsequently made will be the Partners offer. So for example, if you've applied to medicine, you might get an acceptance from Partners straight away, but that depends on things like your interview and your UCAS score and things like that. But if you are successful at those stages, it will be the lower grades, if that makes sense. Next slide, please. Oh, so I think we're at the end already. But thanks very much for coming today. We're happy to stick around and answer any questions that you have. If there's been any in the chat, I don't think there has, but feel free to type away if you want to ask me or Scott anything. There's loads of information on our website. You can also contact us at any point. We do look after this inbox between 9 and 5 Monday to Friday. So it's just partners@ncl.ac.uk. So if you have a question after today, or you don't want to type it for everyone to see, that's fine. Just get in touch. We'd also really appreciate if you could fill out the evaluation form and let us know how you found the event today. So you can do that by scanning the QR code on screen. It'll just ask you a few questions. If there's anything you wanted us to cover that we didn't cover, we can obviously bear that in mind for next time. So we'll really appreciate your feedback. But yeah, I think that's all. So
Thank you so much, Mary. And thank you very much, Scott. That was an excellent presentation, really, really informative. And for migrant leaders, students who are on the webinar, I think this is a fabulous opportunity for you guys to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes of Mary and Scott's time to ask any special questions. Feel free to ask in person by unmuting yourself, or if you're more comfortable, put your question in the chat either to everyone or directly to me, and I can ask on your behalf. So feel free to do whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Thank you very much for the talk. I was going to ask, how long does the summer school last for?
That's a good question. It's something I realise I probably only briefly mentioned when I was overviewing that, but thank you, Mustafa, for that question. So the summer school usually lasts for 1 week, 5 days. So this year it'll be 2.5 days you would spend on campus in Newcastle, and then 2.5 days you complete remotely from home as well. But we don't expect it to be any longer for next year. So it would be 5 days maximum.
Thank you.
In the chat. Thank you very much. So hi, thank you for the information. You're welcome. Just a question. Say, for example, we initially thought we were ready to put Newcastle as the firm choice, but we get accepted onto the programme. However, we later change our mind. What would be the process? That's fine. So Newcastle admissions team actually allow all applicants to change their mind on UCAS. So you'll have the functionality when you log into UCAS to switch around your firm and insurance choice if that's what you want to do. It's not a problem. And we'll obviously just keep an eye on that ourselves. And then if you go from firm to insurance, we'll just make sure that admissions update your offer. If you go the other way around, we'll make sure that we send you all the information about the summer school.
And a question for me, because we put this webinar video on our social media, a variety of the students, some of whom may not be migrant leaders, the students will see the video. I know that there were 15 eligibility criteria, and if any one of them is ticked, they would be eligible for your partners program. But can students from independent schools apply to the partners program if they tick other eligibility criteria?
They can, yeah. So the only criteria that students from independent schools wouldn't meet would be the ethnicity criteria, so the Black, Asian and minority ethnic groups. All other criteria, we if they meet one of those, then they'd be still eligible, yeah.
Thank you.
So you've got another question here, Mary. After the initial online partners application, what are the next steps in the application process? So do you want to talk a little bit more about what would happen next?
No worries. So say you've submitted your partner's application form, it then goes to your teacher to verify. They just have to tick a box to confirm your details. Once they've done that, within 20 working days, you'll get an outcome from the partners team saying whether you've been accepted or rejected from the partners program. If you have been accepted, it's always provisional because it depends on if you were made an offer or not. So basically admissions have the final say. So you'll get an email saying that you've been provisionally accepted. The partners team will inform our admissions team. The admissions team will look at your application and go through any additional steps. So for example, any interviews or anything like that. If it's all good, they'll then make you a partner's offer and that'll appear on UCAS. So for example, it'll say 3 Bs plus firm choice and summer school.
Thank you. I've also had a message here asking me to go over the summer school details again. Yeah, that's no problem at all. So the Partners Summer School takes place at the end of year 13. So you apply as a year 12 student from September of this year, and then the summer school would take place in the following July. The summer school is designed really just to give you a help in the transition to university life, and it's made up of 4 different segments. So academic sessions, which would be based on the course that you apply for. So as I used the example earlier, if you apply for a medicine course, your sessions on the summer school for academic would be focused on medicine. So you do taster lectures and taster lab work and things like that. The next section's the higher education skills. So you complete that online from home using our online learning platform, which is Canvas, and you'd complete a series of different exercises on there to get you ready for university study. So Mary said earlier about getting a head start to referencing, but it can be things such as helping you to find how you take notes best. So working through different exercises to get you prepared for university study. There's then a section on careers and employability, which is run by our careers service, and then social activities as well. So it's made up of 4 different segments, and all of those, apart from the social activities, are compulsory. Even if you come along to Newcastle and don't want to take part in cinema night or quiz night, you don't have to do that at all, but the option's there for you to meet new people. So I hope that helps, but the session's been recorded, so if there's anything that I didn't cover in that section there, please do get in touch with us.
Thank you, Scott. Mary, Scott, there was another question that came directly to me about what is home student status?
So I can take this one if you like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, home student status is defined as being, it's a difficult one to define, but it depends on things such as residency and nationality as well. So, but typically if you've been based in the UK permanently or have leave to remain, you'd be considered considered a home student. But if there's any questions our admissions team have about home fee status, they would send you what's called a fee status questionnaire. And all we'd ask for then is copies of your passport, any immigration documents and things such as that. And they'd assess if you'd be classed as a home fees student. Home fee students pay the home UK tuition fee rate, which is currently £9,250 per year.
We've got another couple of questions in the chat. I'll take this one. Does Partners work with other UK universities, or is it just Newcastle? If not, are there similar programs for the universities? So Partners is Newcastle specific. So that's our own kind of in-house supported entry route. However, most universities have their own version to some extent of Partners. So what I'd recommend is just doing a bit of research, having a look at the universities that you're interested in and seeing what they offer, because there'll be a few variations of that basically. So we're not the only one out there. And then I don't know if you want to take that one, Scott, about what's the best way to make a competitive application. Should we submit any work or projects alongside it?
In terms of Partners, there's nothing really which would make your application more competitive. So as Mary said, you only need to meet one of those eligibility criteria and the essential conditions to be accepted. If you're referring more to a university application, then definitely any work experience or projects which you complete alongside that would really help in your general university application. So that's definitely something to include in your UCAS application. But from the Partners side of things, it wouldn't make it any more competitive than a student who didn't have those things. So yeah, as long as you meet one of those criteria and all the essential conditions, then that would be fine.
In terms of as well, if you've got like work experience and things like that, like Scott mentioned, you can mention that in your personal statement. That's a good place to put that in. What I would say though is that don't stress yourself out too much about that. As long as you've got the required grades at Newcastle, most of the time you'll get an offer. It's just for courses like medicine and dentistry, but that's why they have the extra steps, because it's so competitive and because it's always oversubscribed. But yeah.
Yeah. I've had a direct question here, which is asking if the summer school is an essential part of the Partners program. And yes, that's right. So as part of, if you were made an offer through the Partners program, it would form a condition of your offer. So you'd need to successfully complete the summer school to get the lower offer or to be accepted with the lower offer. So that's correct.
And a question from Ocean, thank you. Are GCSE grades included in the entry requirements? So Partners doesn't lower GCSE grades. We can only lower A-level or equivalent. So that's another reason why it would be a provisional accept. Because say, for example, you had the required predicted grades to get a Partners offer, but you needed a grade 6 or B or above at GCSE maths and you didn't have one, admissions then might not make you an offer because of that. So definitely check the GCSE requirements too, because we can't change that. We can only reduce the A-level grades.
That's right. Someone here who missed the start of the meeting has asked, how much do we have to pay for the summer school? The summer school is completely free, so there's no cost associated with that. And if you were coming up to Newcastle for the on-campus days, we would also reimburse you or pay for all of your travel and accommodation too. And I think there's one more question in here. Is there any support in place for international students who'd like to join Newcastle? Myself and Mary both work within the UK student recruitment team, so it's not an area that we specialise in, but we can certainly pass on some contact details for the international recruitment team. If there are any international students who are on the call today, we can put you in touch with the team who can give you some advice on that as well.
Yeah, we can, no problem.
I think that was all of the questions I had in my chat box.
I can't see any more in
sorry, excuse me, could I ask something real quick?
Of course you can, yeah.
Of course.
Okay, so I'm the international student that sent you the message. So when I got here, I had 3 months left to GCSEs, and because most courses are finished with their curriculum, my school then was like, okay, in that case, just do maths, English, and like double science. So, and that doesn't meet the GCSE number requirements for most universities. So, what's going to happen in my case then?
Did you say you don't meet the GCSE requirements for most
Yeah,
universities?
but it wasn't by choice. It was because most,
Yeah.
obviously I got here pretty late, and most classes I finished everything. They'd done their exams, so I just had to do those ones.
Right. Okay. It's you go for it, Marriott.
I was just going to say, if you've got like the international equivalent, then they'll look at that. Not for probably not for partners, because we only really look at kind of like home fee students. But yeah, they'll look at any equivalents that you have that are international, and also if you don't have either, then you can also look to resit a GCSE. So for example, if you don't quite have a 6 in GCSE maths and you need that for your course, you can
No,
resit.
I've got all the grades. I just don't, because no, I got 7 in maths and 6 in English and
Okay.
8-7 in double science. My problem is just that it comes to a total of 4 GCSEs, and most unis require at least 5. So that's just my concern.
Oh, because
Okay.
you only have 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for our point of view, we don't have any, the only courses which ask for a minimum number of GCSEs are business related programs. All of our other courses, there's no requirement for a set number of GCSEs. So at Newcastle, it wouldn't necessarily be a problem. Other universities, we can't speak for those, I'm afraid, but it's definitely worth getting in touch with the admissions teams of the universities that you're interested in.
If I want to come to you from Newcastle, what's it going to be like for me?
So as long as you have like are you studying A levels at the moment?
Yeah, maths, chemistry, and biology.
And what subject are you interested in, if you know yet?
Dentistry.
Dentistry. Okay, so our dentistry course, they do ask for maths and English at GCSE, but they don't ask for you to have like 10 GCSEs, like Scott said. So for Newcastle, you'd be fine. But yeah, just check on other university websites. They usually have like an entry requirement section, and you can just click the drop down and it'll outline all of the requirements.
Okay, that's fine. Honestly, I'm fine with Newcastle because most of the universities I've been to, they're not giving a definite answer. They're just like passing me around, and yeah, that's a relief now. So
I think the key,
thank you very much.
Well done, Radiance, for raising this. I think the key thing for Radiance is that because you are not yet home student fee status, is that right?
Yes.
Then if by that time you don't have home student fee status, then you can't apply for the Newcastle Partners Program. Is that right, Mary?
Yeah.
That is right, but you'd still be able to apply, obviously. Through
of course, you can still apply to Newcastle Dentistry, but you'd need AAA for A levels.
AAA. So in my case, to qualify, do you think it's ideal taking a gap year? Because at the same time, the international students funding is going to be quite a lot, considering the fact that I won't get any funding and no maintenance loan.
Are you asking because if you take a gap year, you might have the home status by then when you reapply?
I might have what? What did you say, sir?
Is that why you're asking? Sorry, are you saying if you took a gap year when you went to apply the following year, your fee status might have changed? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think so. Or how long do I have to be to qualify?
It's a difficult one, Radiance, and because we don't have immigration law knowledge here, and the immigration landscape is changing all the time, we probably can't give you that bespoke advice. So
yeah, what we can do, we can certainly put you in touch with our admissions team, who can they assess the fee status for each of our applicants, so they can give some more advice. But as you said, it's a difficult one because it's a changing landscape, and we use advice from the government as well, which does change quite frequently. So we can't give you a definite answer, but I'll pop the email address of the admissions team in the chat as well.
I think, Scott, that's excellent suggestion, because Radiance, everyone on the call, I know from my experience with migrant leaders mentees, I have seen identical migrant students who've been in the UK for an identical number of years, and different universities have either given them foreign student status or home student status, and yet the conditions haven't changed. So it's all about you individually. And if you contact the admissions department of each university, including Newcastle, and get them to confirm your fee status, then you'll know if you can be deemed by Newcastle, for example, as home student fee. And it's possible, it's not impossible, but it's a case-by-case basis. So you will only know if you ask the individual university's admissions team.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No problem. So
I'm sorry, could I ask one last question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Taking a gap year, does it affect my chances of applying to partners in the future? Or
No, it doesn't. So we don't have like an age limit or anything like that on for partners. So we still consider students that are doing a gap year. That's absolutely fine. We would just ask that your achieved grades meet the partner's offer. So there isn't the one grade lenience like there is with predicted grades. So if you were applying to a course that needed 3 Bs, you'd need to already have 3 Bs.
okay. Yeah, thank you very much.
No worries.
No
Thanks for your
problem.
question.
Okay, that was excellent and very interactive. Thank you very much, Migrant Leaders Mentees, for asking lots of questions. Unless there are any other questions or comments from the students, I'll pass over to Scott and Mary for any final comments.
No, we just wanted to say thank you very much for having us along today. I hope it was a useful session for you. As a follow-up, we can certainly send some helpful informational links and contact email addresses. If your students do have any questions, then please feel free to share those with your mentees. But no, Mary, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, just thank you for joining us today. I hope you found it useful. Thank you for everyone who's putting messages in the chat as well.
Thank you.
And yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you so much. And a personal thank you from me. That was excellent. Thank you.